In Buddhism, the concept of hell is anything but ordinary. Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that your entire life has been a series of missteps and poor choices. You're suddenly faced with the unsettling thought that your actions might have some serious consequences in the afterlife. Enter the concept of Buddhist hell, a topic that's sure to raise some eyebrows and get those mental gears turning. Now, I know the word hell can be a bit of a buzzkill, but trust me when I say that the Buddhist version is far from your typical fire and brimstone nightmare. In fact, it's a fascinating and complex concept that ties into the very core of Buddhist teachings about karma, rebirth, and the nature of suffering. Before we jump headfirst into this intriguing topic, allow me to extend a warm welcome to all our viewers, both old and new. I'm Matt, one half of the Buddha's Wisdom team, and along with my fellow wisdom seeker Peter, I'm here to explore the profound insights of Buddhism. So, are you ready to have your preconceptions about hell turned upside down? We're about to unravel the mysteries of Buddhist hell and discover how this ancient concept can actually shed light on our modern lives. Get ready for some mind-bending revelations, a sprinkle of humor, and maybe even a newfound appreciation for the complexities of the human experience. Let's go! All right, let's take a step back and set the stage for our exploration of Buddhist hell. To really understand this concept, we need to touch on a couple of fundamental Buddhist principles. First up, we have karma, the idea that our actions have consequences that can ripple out across lifetimes. If you missed our previous video on karma, don't worry. You can click the link below to catch up. Trust me, it's a game changer. Next, we have the concept of rebirth, or samsara. This is the belief that we're not just one and done when it comes to living. Instead, we're caught in an ongoing cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, with our karma influencing the nature of each new existence. Again, if you need a refresher, check out Peter's awesome video on Samsara. It's like a crash course in Buddhist philosophy. Think of karma as a cosmic scorecard, and samsara as an endless game of rebirths. Now here's where it gets juicy. According to Buddhist teachings, there are 6 main realms into which we can be reborn. Picture a cosmic game of roulette, except instead of landing on red or black, you could end up as a heavenly being, a human, an animal, a hungry ghost, an asura, or titan, or, you guessed it, in one of the hell realms. Now, before you start having nightmares about eternal damnation, let me clarify something important. The Buddhist hell realms are not like the fiery infernos you might have heard about in other religious traditions. In Buddhism, hell is more like a temporary timeout, a place where you experience the consequences of your negative actions until your karma runs its course. So yes, the hell realms are definitely not a vacation destination. But the good news is that in Buddhism, nothing lasts forever, not even the most intense suffering. With the right actions, intentions, and mindset, it's always possible to break free from the cycle of rebirth and set your sights on a better future. Okay, so now that we've covered the basics, let's get into the nitty-gritty of Buddhist hell. In Buddhism, the hell realms are collectively known as Naraka, and they're not just one size fits all. There are multiple hell realms, each with its own unique brand of suffering. Now, before we dive into the specifics, it's important to note that the descriptions of the hell realms can vary depending on the Buddhist text. In the Mahayana Mahaparinirvana Sutra, for example, the hell realms are depicted somewhat differently compared to the Dharma Analysis Treasury. But regardless of the specific details, these realms are all situated right here on our very own Kakavala, or world system, according to Buddhist cosmology. Picture a cosmic layer cake with each realm stacked on top of the other, and the hell realms are right there at the bottom. Let's start with the cold hells, shall we? There are 8 great cold hells, each with a name that'll make you want to reach for a warm blanket. In ascending order of severity, we have 1. Arbuda, the blister hell, where the intense cold causes blisters to form on beings' bodies. 2. Nirarbuda, the burst blister hell, where the blisters burst open, causing excruciating pain. 3. Atata, the shivering hell, where beings shiver uncontrollably in the bitter cold. 4. Ha-ha-hava, the lamentation hell, where beings cry out in agony from the freezing temperatures. 5. Huhuva, the chattering teeth hell, where beings' teeth chatter incessantly from the cold. 6. Utpala, the blue lotus hell, where the skin turns blue like a lotus flower from the extreme cold. 7. Padma, the lotus hell, where the skin cracks open like a lotus blossom. 8. Mahapadma, the great lotus hell, the coldest and most severe of all the cold hells. But wait, there's more. We haven't even gotten to the hot hells yet. Like the cold hells, there are 8 major hot hells, each with its own unique form of fiery torment. 1. Sanjiva, the reviving hell, where beings are cut, crushed, or burned, only to be revived and tormented again. 2. Kalasutra, the black thread hell, where beings are marked with hot black lines and then cut along those lines. 3. Samgata, the crushing hell, where beings are crushed between massive hot objects. 4. Raurava, the screaming hell, where the intense heat causes beings to scream in agony. 5. Maharorava, the great screaming hell, an even more intense version of Raurava. 6. Tapana, the heating hell, where beings are impaled on red-hot spikes. 7. Pratapana, the great heating hell, an even more severe version of Tapana. 8. Avaichi, the uninterrupted hell, the deepest and most intense of all the hot hells. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Geez, Matt, this all sounds pretty grim, and you're not wrong. The Naraka realms are definitely not a walk in the park. But here's the thing. In Buddhism, these hell realms are not meant to be taken literally. They're powerful metaphors for the suffering we can experience in our own minds when we're trapped in negative patterns of thought and behavior. When we're consumed by anger, hatred, or greed, it's like we're in our own personal hell realm. We're tormented by our own negative emotions, unable to find peace or happiness. And just like in the Naraka realms, it can feel like there's no escape. But that's where Buddhist practice comes in. By cultivating mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom, we can begin to break free from our own mental hell realms. We can learn to observe our thoughts and emotions without getting caught up in them. And we can make choices that align with our values and lead to greater happiness and peace. So, while the descriptions of the Naraka realms might seem intense or even frightening, they ultimately serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of our own thoughts, actions, and mind states. By taking responsibility for our own minds and cultivating positive qualities, we can begin to free ourselves from suffering, both in this life and beyond. So what's the point of all this? Why does Buddhism emphasize these vivid descriptions of suffering? First and foremost, the hell realms remind us of the consequences of our actions. In Buddhism, our thoughts, words, and deeds impact not just ourselves, but also those around us and the world as a whole. Negative actions create the causes for future suffering. The hell realms are not a punishment handed down by some external authority, but the natural result of our choices and behaviors. Just as a plant will bear fruit according to the type of seed planted, our actions bear fruit according to their nature. These realms also serve as a powerful motivation for spiritual practice and personal growth. Contemplating the suffering of the hell realms can develop a sense of urgency and determination to break free from negative thoughts and actions. This is where the Buddhist path of mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom comes in. By cultivating these positive qualities, we can begin to transform our own minds and hearts, breaking free from the mental hell realms that cause us so much pain and distress. We can learn to respond to challenges with greater equanimity, to treat others with kindness and understanding, and to make choices that lead to greater peace and happiness. Ultimately, the purpose of the hell realms in Buddhism is not to scare us or to condemn us, but to wake us up, to shake us out of our complacency and inspire us to take responsibility for our own minds and actions. By confronting the reality of suffering head-on, we can develop the compassion, wisdom, and skillful means needed to transform that suffering and to help others do the same. But how do we actually break free from this cycle of suffering? How do we escape the endless round of rebirth and find lasting peace and happiness? Now, for our regular viewers, this next part might be a bit of a refresher, but it's always good to revisit the foundations of our practice, right? As we've discussed many times before, the key to breaking free from the cycle of suffering lies in the three essential practices at the heart of the Buddhist path: mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. These practices are like the secret sauce of spiritual growth, the ingredients that, when combined and cultivated over time, can lead us to the ultimate goal of enlightenment. And what is enlightenment? It's the complete liberation from suffering and the cycle of rebirth, a state of perfect wisdom, compassion, and peace beyond all the ups and downs of worldly existence. But as we all know, this path is not a quick fix or a magic bullet. It requires dedication, effort, and a willingness to confront our own thoughts, emotions, and behaviors with honesty and compassion. By cultivating mindfulness, we learn to observe our own experiences with greater clarity and objectivity. By cultivating compassion, we learn to connect with the suffering of others and to respond with kindness and skillful action. And by cultivating wisdom, we learn to see through the illusions of the self and the world, to understand the true nature of reality beyond all concepts and categories. I know many of you have heard this before, but it bears repeating. These practices are not just abstract ideas or lofty ideals. They're practical tools that we can apply in our daily lives, moment by moment. And the more we cultivate them, the more we begin to experience their transformative power. The way they can help us break free from old patterns of suffering and find greater peace, happiness, and connection in our lives. Regardless of your background or level of experience with Buddhism, remember, the key to escaping the cycle of suffering lies in the cultivation of mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom. It's a journey that requires patience, perseverance, and an open heart. But it's a journey that can lead to the greatest happiness and freedom imaginable. How do these beliefs about hell realms and the cycle of rebirth translate into real-world Buddhist practices? One fascinating example is the Ghost Festival, a traditional Buddhist holiday observed in many Asian countries, particularly in China and Vietnam. During the Ghost Festival, also known as the Hungry Ghost Festival, or Yulenpen Festival, it's believed that the gates of hell are opened, and the spirits of the deceased are allowed to visit the living world. This includes not only ancestors, but also ghosts and spirits who have no living descendants to venerate them. Buddhist practitioners and communities engage in various rituals and offerings during this time, such as preparing food and drink for the spirits, burning joss paper, a type of ceremonial paper money, and chanting scriptures. These practices are believed to help alleviate the suffering of beings in the hell realms and to generate merit for both the living and the deceased. The Ghost Festival serves as a powerful reminder of the interconnectedness of all beings, both living and dead, and the importance of compassion and generosity in the face of suffering. It's a time for Buddhists to reflect on the impermanence of life, the consequences of our actions, and the potential for spiritual growth and liberation. So, the next time you hear about the Ghost Festival or similar practices in Buddhist communities, keep in mind the deeper significance behind these rituals. They're not just colorful cultural traditions. They're a reflection of the profound teachings on suffering, rebirth, and the path to enlightenment that lie at the heart of Buddhism. As we explore these concepts, it's crucial to approach them with cultural sensitivity and an awareness of potential pitfalls, such as Orientalism. Orientalism, as coined by scholar Edward Said, refers to the tendency of Western cultures to view and represent Eastern cultures in a stereotypical, exoticized, or essentialized manner. When it comes to Buddhist hell realms, there's a risk of falling into Orientalist traps, such as focusing on the most sensational or gruesome aspects of these teachings without proper context or understanding. It's important to remember that Buddhist teachings on hell realms are part of a complex, nuanced religious and philosophical tradition. They're not meant to be taken literally or in isolation, but rather as part of a larger framework for understanding suffering, karma, and the path to enlightenment. As we explore these concepts, let's strive to approach them with respect, curiosity, and a willingness to learn from the lived experiences and interpretations of Buddhist practitioners themselves. By doing so, we can avoid the pitfalls of orientalism and gain a more authentic, nuanced understanding of these teachings and their significance in Buddhist thought and practice. If you encounter descriptions of Buddhist hell realms, take a moment to critically examine how these ideas are being presented and framed. Are they being sensationalized or taken out of context? Are the voices and perspectives of Buddhist practitioners being centered? By asking these questions, we can work towards a more balanced, culturally sensitive understanding of this complex and fascinating aspect of Buddhist cosmology. Imagine realizing that the hell realms are not external places, but internal states we create through our own actions and thoughts. This revelation is empowering. It means that we have the power to change our destiny, not through fear of punishment, but through cultivating positive qualities like compassion, mindfulness, and wisdom. This moment of realization can be life-changing. It's the point where understanding transforms into action, and we see that our spiritual journey is not about avoiding hell, but about creating heaven within ourselves through our daily practices. All right, folks, we've covered a lot of ground today. From the fiery pits of the hell realms to the lofty heights of enlightenment, we've explored the nature of suffering, the consequences of our actions, and the path to liberation. But before we wrap things up, let's take a moment to reflect on some of the key takeaways from our discussion. Remember, as the Mahayana Mahaparinirvana Sutra teaches, all conditioned phenomena are like a dream, an illusion. By understanding the metaphorical nature of Buddhist hells, we can better navigate our mental states and cultivate a life of peace and wisdom. Remember that the path to liberation is not a one-time event or a quick fix. It's a lifelong journey of growth, learning, and transformation. By cultivating the essential practices of mindfulness, compassion, and wisdom, we can gradually break free from the cycle of suffering and rebirth and experience a deeper sense of peace, purpose, and connection with all things. And finally, remember that you're not alone on this path. As a community of spiritual seekers, we're all in this together, supporting each other, learning from each other, and inspiring each other to keep going, even when the road gets tough. So don't be afraid to reach out, to share your experiences, and to lean on the wisdom and compassion of those around you. Before we sign off for today, I just wanted to take a moment to thank each and every one of you for being a part of this amazing community. Your presence, your insights, and your commitment to the path of awakening are what make Buddha's wisdom such a special place. I invite you to hit that like button and share this video with someone who might appreciate a fresh perspective on the afterlife. And if you're new to our channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a moment of wisdom, inspiration, or laughter. And hey, we want to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let us know your thoughts on today's topic. What surprised you most about the Buddhist conception of hell? Have you ever encountered any pop culture references to these ideas? Your insights and experiences are a gift to this community, and we can't wait to read them. Until next time, my friends, may you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you be free from suffering. And remember, the path to liberation is not a destination, but a journey. So enjoy the ride and trust in the process. Thanks for watching, everyone. Be sure to join us next week for another dose of wisdom, compassion, and humor. And as always, may the Buddha's wisdom guide you, may the Dharma protect you, and may the Sangha support you on your journey to awakening. Namaste, my friends, and see you next time on Buddha's Wisdom.